guys, welcome and welcome back to the channel. It's Josie. If you're new here or seeing me for the first time, I thank you so much for clicking and thank you so much for stopping by. I'm really excited to bring you today's content, so stay tuned and let's get some goodies. So today's video is about like a comparison of living in China and Sweden. I recently lived in Beijing, China for 5 years, so I can talk more about it. Yeah. And I also stayed in Sweden for about 1 year, so I have quite like a good time staying in Sweden too, so I can have a comparison. Like I'm able to judge like and compare the two countries. So that's all about this video today, and let's get to it. So just something to note, it's not that I'm gonna be complaining, but if you're gonna see it that way, sorry, because I'm gonna be brutally honest with whatever I'm gonna say in this video comparing China and Sweden. So I'm so sorry if you're from any of the countries and you're gonna feel offended. That was my experience and I apologize in advance. Okay, I love you all. Let's talk about the cost of living in both the two countries, China, Sweden. In my experience, living in China is way cheaper compared to Sweden. The cost of living is cheap. Housing is cheaper in China. I lived in Beijing, China. That's one of the major cities around the world with about 30 million people. But in comparison to Stockholm, Sweden, where I'm living right now, the capital of Sweden, Beijing, China, specifically, or China in general, is way cheaper compared to Stockholm. For instance, accommodation in comparison between the two countries, Beijing is way cheaper. Simple stuff like groceries, way cheaper. I didn't have to think about buying anything, the normal things in life, you know, not like anything. Like groceries, clothing or whatever. I didn't really need to worry much about buying them or how much, something like that, like worrying much about the price while in China. But in Sweden, I have to think like, wow, I need to check the price and confirm how much is it, like, because I'm just like, I'm not sure. So yeah, Sweden is way more expensive. Cost of living, housing, like Sweden is way more expensive compared to Beijing, China. So let's talk about safety. China and Sweden. I could say both countries are quite safe, but it really depends. I come from Kenya. I lived in Kenya, and in Kenya sometimes you could hear gunshots and all that. I know it's comparison between China and Sweden, but I just have to bring my background. So since I went to China and lived there for 5 years, I never had a gunshot. Police don't have guns. Like, I've never felt safe in my entire life until I went to China. I could walk in the middle of the night, literally. You could wake up and go outside at midnight, or just maybe you were in town or went clubbing or something, whatever you're doing outside in the night, you never need to really worry about your safety. You're gonna grab your Didi, that is the taxi in China, and just go home. Or if just walking, like you really don't need to worry, like I'm a lady, you know, I need to worry about so many things that something might happen to me. Never have I ever thought about like worrying about my safety. So China is one of the safest countries in the world, I could say. Yeah, very safe. And of course, I know people have different opinion about the surveillance in China. Like, you know, there are cameras everywhere, from the elevator to the grocery store, to the street, to your point of work, going back to the subway. So it's easy for China to track you down from your home to the office, to the city, just in case you get kidnapped. It's easier for them to find you. For me, I feel like that is for my own safety. I feel like it's a positive thing, but I know people have different opinions about that, so that's okay. So let's talk about Sweden safety. I could say it's a safe country, but there are some insecurity issues, a little bit of that. So in comparison to China, China is way more safer compared to here, but it's still safe. That's why I'm here. Okay. Social life. China is way more social in comparison to Sweden. What do I mean by this? Like, people are way more active in general, like way more active. Maybe I didn't meet the super active side of Sweden yet, but I could say like social life. It's easier to make friends. You know, there's so many things you could do, like activities wise. Okay, maybe Sweden has snow half a year, so anyways we cannot blame them, but yeah, it's way more social, and you feel like, yeah, you know, even if you don't have like international friends, I mean, with your international friends, you can just have to do a lot and just feel like, you know, the social life is good. And you can always go to, okay, I even forgot the name, Samlitun, if you're in Beijing, and just feel the life. In comparison to Sweden, people are more reserved, but I won't say like they're more reserved in a way that, you know, they mind their business. So let's talk about friendliness. I feel like Chinese people, or people in China, or my experience in China, people are very friendly. Like, you know, I think I'm someone who likes talking a lot and socializing, so I think I feel very comfortable in such a setting, and it was easier because whether you speak Mandarin or not, someone is just gonna start talking to you in Mandarin, and you're gonna be like, Shushama or something, what are you saying, something like that. But here it's very rare for people to just randomly talk to you unless you're looking good, so they're gonna compliment you like, oh, you're looking good, that's it. Like, they really don't interfere into your business. So we could say they're more reserved in Sweden, and China they're like hyper open. Whether they're speaking your language or not, they're just gonna talk to you, which I find it like, you know, it's very interesting. Let's talk about opportunity wise. China, predominantly they speak Mandarin. We could say 80% of Chinese people in China it's Mandarin. Of course, that's their national language. So yeah, I don't want to say it's rare for people to speak to you in English, because I lived in Beijing. It's quite multicultural. In China, if you have good English, of course you're gonna survive. You're gonna get a lot of opportunities because they need English speakers. So if you have English, good for you. You can do great. Actually, you have opportunities to change career. You could be mostly almost anything you want to be. You can be an actor, you can be a teacher, whatever. Like, I feel like there are so many opportunities there, and you can just do 5 things at a time. You can model, so all that, like, speaking from experience, I was in China and I was able to do acting jobs, I was able to do modeling, I was able to teach, I was able to be a student. I could study law or medicine, whatever I wanted to do, you know. So I feel like there are a lot of opportunities, opportunity wise, even though it's not an English speaking country. But if you're smart enough and see what it's offering you, then you're good to go. Sweden, yes, I could say there are opportunities that I'm not seeing. But yeah, I'm sure you can thrive and be successful here. So what I mean is that you need to have a career here for you to thrive. You need to have a degree for you to get a proper job. You know, you won't just come and be like, okay, I'm gonna be acting or something. Maybe you can do that, but I feel like here you need, like, you know, just have a professional career. Maybe that way it's gonna be easier. And like on the other side of the world, you could just be doing 5 things, you know. Yeah, at the same time you have a main job, you have a side job, you have a weekend job, and you know, something like that. That's what I mean. But here I feel like, okay, you're gonna have your 8 to 5 job, and then maybe you find other stuff that you could do online. But also in Sweden, like 90% of the people speak English, so language is not a problem. But also most job requires that you have Swedish, so it's still a challenge. You need to have Swedish for you to get that maybe nice job. So yeah, that's a little bit about that. Like, this video has taken much time, and we're gonna go back to this comparison again, maybe part 2. Comment part 2 if you want a part 2 of this video. Thank you guys so much for sticking around, and it's time to bid you guys goodbye. Remember to subscribe, like, share, comment, and all that, the love that you can show this channel. Thank you so much, and have a lovely day. Bye.